Hi, welcome back to the channel and my review for Final Destination 2. So this sequel came 3 years after the original film in 2003. Of course, the original was a huge financial hit, so was bound to get a sequel. And back they were here again. So the plot for this one is effectively the same as the first movie. You get a group of young people, this time out on the road, travelling away on holiday for their spring break. And the lead girl that we're following, played by AJ Cook, she has a premonition that there is going to be this huge catastrophic pile-up on the highway, started off by this big lorry carrying all of these tree logs. So of course, like the original, we have this huge opening set piece sequence. She manages to cheat death with a group of people around her, and death comes back for each of these characters one by one to pick them off before they can escape it for a second time. So it was interesting coming back to revisit this sequel because I've never really liked it as much as the original, but I was actually surprised watching it this time. I actually had a lot of fun with the movie. Before, I'd always felt like it had a strange tonal shift from the original. Of course, it's nowhere near as serious. It's a lot more bombastic and over the top and humorous than the original film, and it's kind of just having a little bit more fun with the concept. It's definitely just more self-aware, but watching it this time I kind of appreciated that about it. It's very entertaining, you know, it's a great way to kill 90 minutes, and I had a lot of fun with the movie. So yeah, enjoyed it more than I ever have before, but I definitely do still find it to be a more hollow experience, I think, than the original. Because as I say, in that original film, they did just spend a bit more time developing the characters and kind of letting you know who they are as people, kind of the aftermath of the initial disaster. You get to see a little bit of that, which I just feel like helps immerse and connect you with the characters a little bit more. Whereas here, it kind of feels like it's really, every single scene is just another set piece for a number of ridiculous jokes, followed by a big carnage-fueled death scene in more crazy and creative ways than ever. So it's a fun movie, as I say, but yeah, definitely doesn't have the depth, I don't think, that the original had. And even though the opening sequence here, like the first film, is a lot of fun, I do think it's really nicely done. This great big explosion that happens on the highway. You can tell there's a lot more money in the film as well, so it looks pretty good. And it's pretty insane how it all goes down. Just the amount of carnage on this road is pretty wild, but you don't get that kind of same sense of build-up, I don't think, leading up to it. Like the lead character, you don't really get to know her or any kind of sense of dread around this situation. She's just there making jokes with her friends, and boom, all of this crazy stuff starts happening. So I would have definitely appreciated a little bit more kind of setup and just building the tension leading up to that opening sequence. So obviously they're really trying to outdo themselves with the death scenes in this one. And there is one particular one that stands out to me as being absolutely hilarious. And that is the blonde guy who's in his apartment just after this big disaster. He's cheated death and he's kind of cooking up this meal. It's on fire. He's got his hand stuck in the... What's that sink called? You know, where you have like the kind of thing that like crushes up all the food. He's got his hand stuck down that thing. He's got all of these ex-girlfriends calling him up, leaving him messages congratulating him on having just won the lottery as well the day before he managed to cheat death. And it's just this absolutely wild sequence which is just incredibly entertaining to watch. And it's definitely at this point they started to really play a bit more with your kind of expectations on how this character would die, where they're kind of setting up one thing and they put another small detail in and it makes you think, oh, is that what's going to get them? And then it ends up being something else. And it is quite clever the way it's all done, but that particular scene stood out to me. It is rather entertaining. I really like they found a way to get Ali Larter back into the story here, just because I feel like the main group of characters aren't particularly interesting. I never remember the lead girl played by AJ Cook. Just for some reason, her personality and her character arc are just not very remarkable to me at all, so that she always kind of slips away from my memory the further I get from this film. And that goes for the rest of this group as well, particularly because it's her group of friends that are killed, and it's just like a number of random other people that happen to be on the highway that survive this incident. You're kind of following them, and they're all these very over-the-top, ridiculous kind of characters, so you can never really invest yourself in any of them. But as I say, I really like Ali Larter. She's very nice to look at, and I just think she's quite a charming actress as well. And it's kind of interesting, her storyline, where she's kind of put herself like self-imposed isolation, and she's living in this room where nobody can come near her or bring anything that could potentially harm her. She basically found a way to completely cover herself from death's big plan. And I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. And obviously the lead girl, Kimberly, she goes to meet her to kind of get help because she's been through this before. And she manages to convince her to come back and help this group out. So I think she kind of brings a bit more personality and substance to this main group of characters we're following. So once we meet her, I definitely get more into everything that is going on. I'm not really sure about all the new ideas they bring here to the concept. They're obviously trying to think of ideas to expand the law of death and how it comes after people with all these kind of very nonsensical rules. And I think I think they should have just left that out of this movie. I appreciate they wanted to do something different, but I think it ends up just drawing more attention and awareness to the ridiculous nature of this concept. I think it's better that it's just this idea that's set up and we just accept that those are the rules of this world and watch it play out. When you're getting into this whole thing about rifts in the time zone, and it's now sending things in reverse so people die in the opposite order, and the characters are explaining these rules in a very serious way, I end up just kind of finding it a bit overly stupid, and it ends up distracting me from just having fun with this ridiculous concept. Once again, the ending does leave a little bit to be desired. I think where it goes in the final act, with this character Kimberly kind of having realisations that she needs to be the one to die, and this woman's going to have a baby that might kind of upset the rift of death, and all these kind of weird and silly rules coming into play, and it ends up just being a lot of exposition, a lot of ridiculous dialogue, and I end up just kind of losing some of the fun as the movie goes on. The first hour of it, I'm going along, I'm having fun, I'm accepting it and enjoying it for what it is, but towards the end, unfortunately, once again, it does start to lose me a little bit. But you know what? This is definitely still a fun movie. It's a decent sequel that is definitely worth watching, and it's entertaining more than anything, I think. So yeah, interested to go and see what the third film has got in store for me next after this. I am going to give this movie a 3 out of 5 rating. I think 3.5 might be a bit of a stretch for this one. I'm just going to give this one a 3. But let me know down in the comments, guys, what you think of Final Destination 2. Let me know all your thoughts. Thanks so much, as always, for watching this review. Do take care, and I'll see you next time.